The girl was sitting on the wardrobe, upside down. Her hair hung toward the floor like black water. Her knees were bent backward. She was smiling. And in the archives recording, you can hear an 11-year-old boy whisper, "I'll be your friend." This is Case File 104. The Driskill Hotel, 604 Brazos Street, Austin, Texas. The archive does not explain. It only records. It recorded the temperature in room 525, dropping from 73 degrees to 39 in the span of 3 heartbeats. It recorded 10 leather chairs in the second-floor mezzanine rearranging themselves while a boy was in the bathroom for less than 60 seconds. It recorded the scent of jasmine perfume, discontinued in 1887, saturating the corridor outside room 429, where a 4-year-old girl fell to her death chasing a ball down the grand staircase. The Driskill still operates. The chandeliers still flicker. The mirrors still hold faces that do not belong to the living. And in room 429, the dead are not resting. They are waiting. Do you want to know what happened when the knocking stopped? Viewer discretion is advised. Aaron Mercer was 11 years old. His sister Emily had been cast in a psychological thriller shooting in Austin, backed by a producer named Warren Keene, who lived 3 doors down from the Mercers in Dallas. 2 families. Backyard barbecues. Church picnics. Warren's wife Lorraine was Emily's godmother. The lead actress was Celeste Dubois, a rising star whose face had recently graced Texas Monthly, whose name was whispered in the same sentences as Hollywood. Beautiful, in a way that made people uncomfortable. Like a painting that watched you back. The production booked the entire second floor of the Driskill. Built in 1886 by cattle baron Jesse Driskill, the hotel rises from 6th Street like a Romanesque cathedral to excess. Limestone arches, stained glass, a grand staircase that spirals upward like a promise and downward like a threat. 4 presidents have slept within its walls. Lyndon Johnson met Lady Bird here. And in 1887, a little girl named Samantha Houston was staying on the 4th floor with her father, a state senator whose name the archive has redacted. She was chasing a leather ball. It bounced down the grand staircase. She followed. By the time her body reached the marble floor of the lobby, her neck was broken in 3 places. The hotel closed room 429 the following year. Reopened it in 1934. Closed it again in 1964 after a guest checked in at midnight and checked out at 12:17 a.m., barefoot, screaming, refusing to say what she had seen. The room is currently unlisted. But it is still there. You can find it if you know where to look. And on October 14, 1997, Aaron Mercer found it without trying. The receptionist was a thin man with hollow cheeks and a name tag that read, Gerald. When the crew arrived, Gerald set down his pen and delivered a speech he had clearly given before. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick word. The Driskill is one of the most haunted hotels in America. At night, you may hear knocking. You may hear children laughing in the corridors. You may smell perfume with no visible source. If someone knocks on your door after midnight, do not open it until they identify themselves. If you do not recognize the voice, do not open the door. Celeste Dubois laughed. A warm laugh. Practiced. Is this part of the Austin experience? Gerald did not smile. No, ma'am. This is part of the Driskill experience. The two are not the same. The crew exchanged amused glances. A haunted hotel bit. Marketing. They had seen it before. Warren Keene clapped his hands. "All right, folks, let's get settled. We've got a 4 p.m. call." Aaron's family was assigned room 525, a corner room directly adjacent to the mezzanine lounge. The lounge held 10 chairs arranged around a long mahogany table. These chairs were original to the hotel's 1886 furnishings: oak frames, dark green leather upholstery, brass studs. Each weighed approximately 35 pounds. The archive has verified this with hotel maintenance records. The chairs matter. They matter more than anything else that happened that night. The first day of shooting ran late. An exterior scene on South Congress. Then dinner in the hotel restaurant, the Driskill Grill with its velvet curtains and candlelit tables, and the faint, persistent smell of cigar smoke despite no one having smoked there in 60 years. Aaron sat with his mother Diane, his father Robert, and Emily. Celeste joined them for dessert with her mother Patricia, a heavy woman with swollen ankles who rarely walked farther than the distance between her bed and a chair. Warren Keene and Aaron's father stayed late at the bar. Whiskey. Then more whiskey. Aaron watched them from across the room, 2 men laughing too loud, heads tilted back, ice clinking in crystal glasses. By 10:30 p.m., Aaron was in Celeste's room with his mother, his sister, and Patricia. The women were talking. Adult things, marriages, money, a disagreement between Warren and one of the investors. Aaron was bored. He felt the pressure in his bladder and asked his mother for the room key. "Just use Celeste's bathroom, honey." "No, I'll go back to our room." He didn't know why he refused. Something in him wanted to move, wanted to walk. The archive has recorded this detail because it was the first decision that led to everything else. A small choice, an 11-year-old's whim, and the moment the door of room 525 closed behind him, the mezzanine was still. He used the bathroom. He washed his hands. He stood for a moment in the quiet of the room, looking out the window at 6th Street below, the neon signs, the crowds of college students, the living world. He felt suddenly, inexplicably tired. He walked back toward Celeste's room to tell his mother he wanted to sleep. And when he crossed the mezzanine lounge, he stopped. The 10 chairs were no longer arranged around the table. 3 were overturned. 2 had been dragged toward the balcony railing. 1 was facing the corridor, facing him, as if someone had been sitting in it, watching him, waiting for him to return. Aaron stared at the chairs. He had been gone for maybe 3 minutes. He had heard nothing. No scrape of wood on marble. No footsteps. No breathing. The chairs weighed 35 pounds each. To move one would require effort. To move 5 would require noise. He felt the temperature drop. Not gradually, instantly. The sweat on his arms turned cold. His breath misted in front of his face. And then the chair that was facing him, the one positioned as if someone had been sitting in it, rocked backward. Just an inch. Just enough to confirm that something was still sitting in it. Something he could not see. Aaron ran. He did not run to his room. He did not run to Celeste's room. He ran toward the staircase, toward the lobby, toward anywhere that was not the mezzanine. But the staircase was not there. The corridor had shifted. The walls were closer. The wallpaper, gold and green and older than his grandfather, seemed to breathe. He turned a corner and found himself in front of room 429. The door was closed. The brass numbers gleamed. And from inside, clear as a bell, a child's voice said, "I lost my ball." Aaron did not remember returning to Celeste's room. He did not remember opening the door. The next thing he knew, he was sitting on the floor with his back against the wall, and his mother was shaking him, and his father was saying something about the cold, about how the whole corridor had gone cold, about how the temperature in the mezzanine had dropped so fast the windows had fogged from the inside. "We're leaving," Robert said. "Aaron, we're leaving tonight," but they did not leave. Because when Robert went to the door, it would not open. The handle turned. The lock disengaged. The door remained shut, as if something was holding it closed from the other side. And then the knocking began. 3 knocks. Slow. Deliberate. Pause. 3 more knocks. No one spoke. No one identified themselves. The knocking continued. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks, pause, for 11 minutes. Patricia began to pray. The rosary, in Spanish, the words tumbling over each other like water over stones. Santa Maria, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores. At 11:47 p.m., the knocking stopped. At 11:48 p.m., the door swung open on its own. The mezzanine was empty. The chairs were back in their original positions, perfectly arranged around the table. Robert walked the entire second floor, checking every door, every alcove, every shadow. He found no one. He heard only the distant hum of the ice machine and the faint, fading scent of jasmine. They stayed. The shoot had to finish. Warren Keene assured everyone it was a prank, one of the crew members, probably, trying to spook the out-of-towners. Robert wanted to believe him. Aaron knew better. That night, Aaron dreamed of a little girl in a white dress. Her hair was blonde and curled. Her eyes were gray. She was sitting at the foot of his bed, and she was holding a leather ball. "Will you be my friend?" she asked. Her voice was not the voice of a child. It was the voice of something that had been waiting since 1887. It was the voice of something that had been alone for a very long time. Aaron said yes. The next 3 weeks were a descent. The archive has cataloged the progression in clinical detail. Day 3. Aaron began vomiting every morning. The family doctor in Dallas, consulted by phone, diagnosed nerves. New environment, excitement, irregular sleep. It'll pass. Day 7. Robert Mercer woke with a stiffness in his lower back that would not ease. Within a week, he was wearing a support belt 24 hours a day. The pain migrated, spine to hips, hips to knees. Doctors found nothing. Physiotherapy provided temporary relief. The pain always returned. Robert could not tie his shoes. His fingers, which had once rebuilt engines, now shook when he held a coffee cup. His wife helped him dress. She did not cry. She had stopped crying on day 4. Day 10. The makeup artist, a woman named Rosa Jimenez, was found in the corridor at 3 a.m., hysterical, her long braid tangled, as if someone had dragged her across the floor by her hair. She spoke only in fragments. The child. The child is not a child. The child has a mother. She checked out of the hotel at dawn. She never returned to the production. Day 14. Patricia Dubois, Celeste's mother, was sitting in the courtyard garden with Diane Mercer and the director's wife, a woman named Marjorie, who was large and loud and dismissive of what she called ghost nonsense. As the 3 women ate lunch, Marjorie began mocking the hotel staff. "Cheap theatrics," she said. "They're trying to drum up business for this old mausoleum." The air around them shifted. The courtyard, which had been still and warm, erupted with wind. Dust rose in spirals. And then, in full view of 4 witnesses, Marjorie was struck across the face by an invisible hand. The force lifted her from her chair and threw her 4 feet across the flagstones. The chair shattered beneath her weight. When the others reached her, they found 5 distinct fingerprints burned into her left cheek, as if branded there. The skin was already blistering. Diane Mercer fell to her knees. "Forgive us," she whispered to the empty courtyard. "We did not mean it. Forgive us. It will not happen again." The wind died. Marjorie was transported to St. David's Medical Center. She would remain hospitalized for 6 days. The fingerprints on her cheek faded after 3 weeks, but never fully disappeared. That night, no one on the second floor slept. They gathered in Celeste's room, all of them, actors and crew and family, and prayed until dawn. Diane led the rosary. Warren Keene, who had not been to church in 20 years, knelt and whispered the Our Father with his eyes closed. Aaron did not tell anyone about the girl. She came to him every night now. She sat on the empty bed in his room. Emily had moved to accommodate her shooting schedule, and she asked him questions. Soft questions. Sweet questions. "Will you be my friend forever?" "Yes." "Will you leave me?" "No." "Do you promise?" "I promise." Her appearance shifted over time. At first, she was beautiful. A porcelain doll in a white dress, golden ringlets, gray eyes that sparkled with something like innocence. But as the days passed, Aaron began to notice details. Her neck was bent at an angle that was not natural. Her fingers were too long. When she smiled, her mouth opened slightly too wide. And she did not always sit on the bed. Sometimes she sat on the wardrobe, upside down, her hair hanging toward the floor, her knees bent backward, her gray eyes fixed on him. "Aaron," she would whisper, "you're my only friend." He began to withdraw from the world. He stopped going to the set. He stopped eating dinner with his family. He spent hours in his room, talking to the empty bed, laughing at jokes no one else could hear. His mother found him one afternoon, staring at a corner of the ceiling where nothing was. "Aaron," she grabbed his shoulders. "Aaron, look at me. What is happening to you?" "Nothing, Mom. I'm just tired." She did not believe him. That night, she walked through his room with a crucifix and a bundle of burning sage, a gift from the concierge, who had seen this before, who had watched guests unravel in rooms where the temperature never stabilized. The girl vanished before the smoke reached the wardrobe. But she came back the next night. And she was angry. "Your mother is trying to take me away," she said. Her voice was not sweet anymore. It was brittle. It was old. "Are you going to let her take me away, Aaron?" "No," he said. "I won't let her, that's good. Because if you try to leave me, if you try to send me away, I will have to hurt you. And I don't want to hurt you, Aaron. You're my friend," she smiled. Her neck cracked. Her head tilted at an angle that should not have been possible. Friends don't leave. On the 21st day, Diane Mercer made a phone call. She called a priest she knew from Dallas, Father Miguel Reyes, a Jesuit who had performed 3 exorcisms in the basement of a rural parish in West Texas. Father Reyes listened to her story without interruption. When she finished, he said only, "I will bring someone." 2 days later, Father Reyes arrived with a man who was not a priest. The man was tall, gaunt, dressed in civilian clothes. His name was Thomas Kane. He had been a seminarian once, before the visions started, before he understood that his vocation was not to preach, but to hunt. The archdiocese had no official record of his work. Unofficially, he had been to 17 states and had never lost a soul. Father Reyes and Thomas Kane sat with Aaron in the mezzanine lounge, the same lounge where the chairs had moved on the first night. The chairs were still now. The air was warm. "Aaron," Father Reyes said gently, "we know about the girl. We know she's been visiting you. We are not here to hurt her. But she does not belong in this world. She needs to go home. Do you understand?" Aaron nodded. His eyes were sunken. He had lost 9 pounds in 3 weeks. "She's my friend," he whispered. "No," said Thomas Kane. His voice was soft, almost tender. "She is not your friend. She is a soul that has been trapped here for 110 years. She was sent to you by someone who wants to destroy your family. The girl is not the source. She is a lure." Aaron's mother went rigid. "Sent? By whom?" Thomas Kane asked about the dinner at Warren Keene's house, 3 days before the shoot began. The roast. The chicken. The bread that Aaron had struggled to chew, that Lorraine Keene had replaced with a fresh piece, that had arrived with a dusting of something dark that Aaron had mistaken for ash from the pan. "Aaron," Kane said, "what did the bread taste like?" Aaron thought for a long moment. "Bitter," he said. "A little bitter. But I was hungry. I ate it anyway." Kane turned to Diane Mercer. "The wife of your husband's friend, what did she serve your husband for dessert?" "Pecan pralines. From a shop in Austin. She ordered them special. She fed one to Robert by hand. She said it was a gift from her for her brother." "Her brother, yes, Mrs. Mercer." Thomas Kane's voice dropped. "Your husband has no blood relation to Lorraine Keene. To call him brother while feeding him by hand, that is not affection. That is a binding." That night, Father Reyes and Thomas Kane performed a rite in room 525. The details are not recorded in the archive. What is recorded? At 9:47 p.m., the temperature dropped to 34 degrees. The windows iced over from the inside. The wardrobe doors slammed open and shut, 12 times. Aaron screamed. His mother held him and prayed. At 10:02 p.m., the screaming stopped. At 10:03 p.m., the wardrobe doors fell still. At 10:04 p.m., Aaron whispered, "She's gone," but Thomas Kane did not relax. He was looking at the corner of the ceiling, where a water stain in the shape of a hand was slowly spreading. "She's not gone," he said. "She's been moved. There's something else here. Something older." Thomas Kane spent the next 3 hours in the 4th floor corridor outside room 429. He brought nothing with him. No crucifix, no holy water, no ritual implements. He sat in a chair he had dragged from the mezzanine, and he spoke in a voice too low for the microphones to capture. The security cameras on the 4th floor malfunctioned at 11:18 p.m. and did not resume recording until 2:07 a.m. When they did, the corridor was empty. The chair was back in its original position in the mezzanine. Aaron slept through the night for the first time in 3 weeks. In the morning, Father Reyes gave Diane Mercer a bottle of holy water blessed at the San Fernando Cathedral in San Antonio. "Your husband must drink this every day for 7 days. On the 8th day you will call me." He also handed her a small leather pouch. Inside was a street. Benedict metal. "Aaron must wear this for 1 year. Do not remove it. Not for bathing. Not for sleeping. 1 year." He turned to leave, then paused. "Mrs. Mercer, the woman who did this to your family, you know who she is. Cut the ties. No more dinners. No more friendship. The next time she offers you food, refuse it. The next time she calls you sister, hang up the phone. Do you understand?" Diane Mercer understood. The production wrapped. The film was finished and released and eventually forgotten. A minor entry in Celeste Dubois' filmography, unremarkable, except for a persistent rumor among the crew that certain scenes, viewed in the dailies, contained a shadow in the background that no one remembered being on set. Robert Mercer's pain subsided after the 7th day. He never again needed the support belt. He never again spoke of what happened. But for the rest of his life, he could not walk past the Driskill Hotel without crossing to the other side of 6th Street. Aaron grew up. He finished school. He married. He had children. He never again saw the girl in the white dress. But sometimes, when he woke in the middle of the night, always between 3 o'clock and 3:17 a.m., he would smell jasmine. And for just a moment he would hear a child's voice in the darkness of his bedroom. "I'm still here. I'm still waiting. You promised you wouldn't leave." This is Case File 104. The Driskill Hotel, Austin, Texas. The archive does not explain. It only records. It recorded the fingerprints on Marjorie Caldwell's left cheek, documented in her medical file at St. David's under unexplained burn trauma. It recorded the testimony of 4 hotel guests in 1999, 2003, and 2011, all reporting the same phenomenon: 10 chairs on the second-floor mezzanine rearranging themselves when no one was looking. It recorded the water stain on the ceiling of room 525, which the hotel has repainted 17 times and which always, eventually, returns. In the shape of a hand. Reaching. The archive has received 37 reports from Driskill Hotel guests since 1997. 23 describe the scent of jasmine. 8 report a child's laughter in the 4th-floor corridor. 1 in 2019 recorded a photograph, a mirror in room 429, that showed a reflection that did not match the room. The Driskill still operates. The grand staircase still spirals downward. The mirrors still hold faces that do not belong to the living. Room 429 remains unlisted. But if you stand in the 4th-floor corridor late at night near the stained glass window that overlooks Brazos Street, you may hear something. A soft sound. A bouncing ball. A child's laughter that cuts off too suddenly. And if you ever check into the Driskill and the receptionist tells you not to open your door after midnight, listen. Do not open it for a friend. Do not open it for a godmother. Do not open it for anyone whose voice you do not recognize. Because the girl in room 429 is still looking for someone to play with. And she never forgets a promise. Good night. If you have a story that haunts you, a hotel room you cannot explain, a childhood friend no one else remembers, a face in a mirror that did not belong to you, send it to contact.thedreadcodex@gmail.com. Your truth becomes our tale. Your warning becomes our archive. Until next time, may your hotel room stay warm. May your mirrors show only your own reflection. May you never hear a child laughing in a corridor that should be empty. And if you ever stay in a historic hotel and you find yourself on a floor that was not the one you checked into, count the doors before you choose one. Room 429 is never listed on the registry, but it is always occupied.